computers have to be in place. All the communication gadgets have to be put in place, and they have to make sure that they are working and all that. This will take time, and the elections are not too far away from now.
Okay, we will get back to your thoughts on this trending topic. But meanwhile, the incessant destruction of a nation's infrastructure willfully has assumed a worrisome dimension, as no sector is spared of this act that has continued to endanger the lives of innocent citizens. This actually formed the basis for a special town hall meeting by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture to draw greater attention to the trend. Let's hear from Anthony Forson.
The setting has a traditional ambience of government interfacing with its citizens. However, the subject matter is crucial. Convener of the town hall meeting series, Lai Mohammed, set the stage.
In recent times, efforts of the government have been thwarted by some unpatriotic citizens through wanton destruction of critical infrastructure, thereby depriving the greater citizenry for whose benefits these projects and services are provided from enjoying them. Railway tracks have been subjected to wanton destruction. Bridge railings have been removed. Manhole covers have been pilfered. Street lights and other power infrastructure, oil pipeline, telecoms facilities, and critical aviation infrastructure have been damaged or stolen.
Revealing how bad the situation is, Minister of Aviation, Transportation, Works, and the Federal Capital Territory were critical about the state of this condemnable act that has continued to put the lives of citizens at risk.
One cantankerous individual decided to just go and demolish our fence and allow the airport to be so bare. And of course, we decided to show him how not to willfully damage public infrastructure. Because of wind shear, which is the sudden change of direction and speed of air, we had a Sosoluso crash. Everybody knew what happened. Those equipment that are to tell us that there's wind shear on this runway and we should avoid it for the next 10 minutes are being vandalized. So it's another Sosoluso waiting to happen if they continue. This critical infrastructure, they are not seen. They are not airport tenement buildings with toilets, with air conditioner, because that's a complaint. With lifts, they are very important. Lift is important, toilet is important, air conditioner is important, your queue is important where you go, but what is more important is to keep you safe.
In Lagos District, the narrow gauge, we have just one case. But now listen, the whole of Northwest, 31. And you know what, we are not, you know Northwest, right? You want me to call them so that you can shame them. The whole of Northern District, 10. The whole of Northeastern District, that's where we have the worst case. No, not there. North Central is the worst case. Northeastern District, you have 43. North Central District, where you have Jos and all those people, you have 50. Eastern District, you have 36. Abuja to Kaduna, 13. That's worse. What they do in Abuja to Kaduna is they're not cutting off the track. They're stealing, what they call that pin. There's a pin used to hold this thing down. So we have changed up to 10,000 of those things. You have to make sure every day before the train runs, we have to walk all that track to make sure that the track is safe.
The truth is that no nation grows beyond the capacity of its infrastructure. So every little one that we have, we must optimize it.
We are taking off over 25,000 covers of one form or the other. And these are critical public assets that you and I own that are being vandalized. This is just one aspect. Many of the streets, when you notice blackouts, sometimes you might think it is public outage. It is not. The blackouts occur because somebody decided to dig out the cables. So there is something uniquely Nigerian which we don't see in other parts of the country.
The ministers in their submissions advanced the need for strict laws that will deter or punish offenders. And in a quick response, representative of the Senate President assured that the National Assembly will not hesitate in passing any such bill brought before it into law.
The relevant ministries should quickly propose the law they want, whether it is amendment, fresh law, whatever. And I can assure you that the National Assembly will process it speedily.
Nigeria has constantly spent billions of naira in fixing or replacing such destructions. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
We'll quickly take a break now. Panorama will continue on the network service of the NTA. To stay with us.
Nigerians, coronavirus is dangerous. It can kill. When you see this sign, high fever, cough, shortness of breath, drowsiness, pneumonia, don't panic, don't hide, don't embark in self-medication. Promptly visit the nearest medical facility. Report all cases to the nearest hospital. Prevention is key. Avoid contact with infected persons. Avoid crowded areas as much as possible. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Your life is precious. Stay alive. Live long, live right. This message is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the Nigerian Film Corporation. Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibility.
Thank you for staying with us. And still on the destruction of critical assets, we still have with us Dr. Emmanuel Ona of the Political Science Department, UNILAG. Now, Doctor, you have seen the reports of the town hall meeting. Before we let you go, in all of this, who are the losers and what measures can be put in place, to forestall future occurrence of these unfortunate trends from further spreading to other parts of the country?
Well, the losers are Nigerians. The vast majority of Nigerians are the losers because most Nigerians have been praying for government to provide what we have been calling democracy dividends.
Exactly.
We now have a government that is providing democracy dividends. And what we see all over is now sabotage. Sabotage in every form, including this idea of either burning of facilities or stealing of facilities. I don't know, but I think the whole idea might be so that they frustrate the government from providing democracy dividends so that in the end they will say the government has failed. I think this government has done well in providing democracy dividends, and they must have to continue and do that. But in doing that, they must also have to make provisions for coming to terms with this arson and stealing going on all the place. There must be some strict laws. I believe we have laws already. The application must be strictly followed up with, so that anybody that is caught stealing any of these things or burning any of these facilities must be dealt with, in the harshest of ways.
Irrespective of who the person
Of course. In fact, I don't know what you mean, but if you are meaning that if it is a big man, that's the more reason why we have to deal with them,
Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel Ona. We know that vandalizing critical assets of the nation is not the way to go about it. You destroying these things, at the end, you still suffer from the consequences. Thank you so much for joining us on Panorama today.
Thank you.
Now, moving on now, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has issued a public health guidelines advising all in-flight catering service providers and airline operating domestic flights to put in place COVID-19 risk management measures to assure the traveling public that catering products such as meals or snacks served on board flights are not a potential source of COVID-19 infection. So catering companies are required by the authority to carry out regular risk assessments of their operations and put in place remedial actions to address any identified hazard to prevent the possible spread, of COVID-19 virus to other customers through their products. NCAA says domestic airlines shall serve pre-packed catering products, meals or snacks, in sealed containers to their passengers during disembarkments. It also adds that no catering product should be served or consumed in flight by airlines or passengers respectively on any domestic flights. And to the latest on COVID-19 updates. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, as at the 7th of June 2021, shows that 49 new cases of the coronavirus have been recorded in 5 states of the Federation, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 166,816 in Nigeria. Out of the new infections, Ondo topped the list with 30 new cases, followed by Lagos with 15, Kaduna 2, while Gombe and Adamawa have 1 case each. A total number of 163,190 persons have been discharged, and sadly 2,117 deaths have been recorded across the country. And that's Panorama. It came to you live on the Lagos Network Center of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Adeola Komiakere, thanking you for sharing your time with us. Enjoy the rest of your day.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
NTA Tuesday Live, analytical, in-depth, educative and interactive on national issues accommodating all sides of opinions.
We as a people have understood that we have to fight corruption before it fights us back.
Poverty has a financial index, so it should be fought also with a financial weapon. Give it to the social investments program. It has been a very courageous battle.
Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Join us.
This vaccine is safe and it has been certified safe and usable by NAFTA.
Abuja, the place that unites Nigeria.
And there's the start. Promises to Shara. Winds up that left hand.
Archbishop of basketball, goal! He hung on that net like a stalk up a tree.
NTA Sports 24 brings you all sports, all time and all day. Tune in to watch NTA Sports 24 on Star Times Channel 270, StarSat on Channel 434 and Free TV on Channel 731. NTA Sports 24, where sports thrive.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Jennifer Igwe, thank you for joining us on Environment Matters. Today we'll be looking at our biological diversity. Why is it important for us to preserve everything we have in our ecosystem? Why is it that they all play a crucial part and are interconnected? What happens if we destroy any part of them or decide to maybe pay attention to one side and ignore the other? That's our focus today on Environment Matters, so stay tuned.
No single measure completely eliminates your risk, but look what happens when they get added together. Know your risk, lower your risk.
For humans, life without biological diversity is like owning an exquisite car with faulty tires and no engine. What this means is that everything about our existence will hang in a balance, and the likelihood of a devastating crash and shutdown beeping like a ticking bomb. Our fast-paced development process has resulted in great distortion in the ecosystem. The robust biodiversity has been exploited and drained, so much so that it has become lean and frail, staggering to a tipping point.
Human activities, including deforestation, urbanization, agriculture, developmental activities, especially in the area of construction, road constructions, rail developments, have all disturbed the biodiversity of our mother earth and alter the interaction between biodiversity and their physical and chemical environments. These have created challenges, including human health challenges, infectious diseases, climate change issues, governance issues, and several other challenges facing humanity today.
Biological diversity, many often conclude, is about plants, animals, and microorganisms. They are right, but not completely right. Biodiversity includes species and genetic differences, varieties of crops, and breeds of livestock, including ecosystems like lakes, forests, deserts, and agricultural landscape. It's all interwoven, a web of necessities that are indispensable yet neglected and depleted.
Biodiversity is very important for many, many reasons. Most especially, it provides resources directly to us. We get our food, and our agriculture depends on biodiversity. Our medicines depend on biodiversity.
Transfuse the human blood into the chimp or bonobo, and vice versa can transfuse the blood of the chimp into a human. That is why whatever disease that the chimp and gorilla can succumb to can easily affect the human. And so when we are interacting with these animals, for example, you have a hunter go to the forest, he kills a chimpanzee, he butchers this chimpanzee, for example, and try to make bushmeat out of it. In butchering, unfortunately, the hunter will not wear any protective gear. For example, if a doctor in the hospital is, carrying out an operation on a human, he will wear gloves. He will protect his nose. He will protect himself with aprons and stuff like that. He will use reagents. He will use disinfectants and so on to clean up. The butcher, somebody who is hunting, having killed the animal, will use his bare hands. He will cut and butcher the animal. In the process, he wounds himself. He gets a lot of infections, possible infections, zoonotic infections that may come from the chimp directly to him. Even the air he breathes of the animal can get him infected. And then sometimes there are even ectoparasites on the body of this species. So whatever that he will encounter may likely infect him, and sadly, he will not even know that he has been so infected. He will come back to the society, come out of the forest, interact with the people, sell the meat. Some people will eat this meat without cooking them well. They are not even aware that the intestines that they clean and eat could be laden with a lot of nematode, cysts of tapeworm, and other kinds of things. Take, for example, also, when humans go to the toilet, they flush the toilet or latrine, and they don't have contact with these excrements. But when they are dissecting an animal, they don't bury the excrement from the intestines or stomach of this animal. They tamper with it, they leave it on the ground, it dries up, the wind circulates it, and when those elements, the germs and viruses and their particulars, when they have contact with clement conditions in the soil, in the air, they become active again. And when they find their way into the human body, it becomes part of the problems we are suffering as pandemics. That's why you see today, there is hardly any of the pandemic that doesn't have to do with the wild animals and the forest. So this is the relationship. This is how the climate change, because the wildlife, when they are alive in the forest, they are part of the safety net of human survival. The humans need the plants. The animals need the plants. And when we destroy the ecosystem, we destroy all forms of nature.
Biodiversity can help address climate change effects, pollution, and global food security.
At times, the news seems overwhelming. The diversity of life on our rich planet is declining more than ever before in human history. 1 million plant and animal species face extinction. Humans are overusing the Earth capacity by more than half. COVID-19 crisis has also served to highlight just how critical our health of nature is for human well-being and sustainable development. Now is the time to change our relationship with nature. By halting biodiversity loss, we create the conditions for climate emergency.
The United Nations and other experts say nature-based solution can reverse the rapid destruction of our biodiversity, and all humans can and need to.
Biodiversity is declining at an unprecedented and alarming rate, and the pressures are intensifying. We are depleting resources faster than nature can replenish them. COVID-19 has further reminded us of the intimate relationship between people and nature. The current crisis provides an opportunity to recover better. We need to protect nature, restore ecosystems, and establish a balance in our relationship with the planet. The rewards will be tremendous. By reversing biodiversity loss, we can improve human health, realize sustainable development, and address the climate emergency. Solutions exist to protect our planet's genetic diversity on land and at sea. Everybody has a part to play. Sustainable lifestyle choices are the key. The choice to live sustainably must be made available to everyone, everywhere. And that means better policies that promote government, business, and individual accountability. We all need to be part of a movement for change.
The destructive attitude of man towards biodiversity started during the Industrial Revolution. Experts say the time for needed intervention is now, particularly as climate change and the coronavirus pandemic are causing worse destruction to man that biodiversity can check.
We shouldn't be cutting down trees and forests. We shouldn't be emptying the forest of and poaching animals. We shouldn't be throwing around waste. We shouldn't be destroying our oceans. We shouldn't be filling our wetlands and making the earth inhabitable for the other forms of life that we share the world with.
Can intervene by planting trees. And then at the government level, the government owns the land. There is no reason we must not, as a matter of urgency, as a matter of interest, we must, as a people, as a nation, set aside more conserved and protected areas, well-managed protected areas. Thank God, of recent, the federal government of Nigeria, through the Federal Ministry of Environment, they have earmarked 10 additional national parks for Nigeria. Once this is signed to law, it will go a long way to improve and sustain our natural environment. Beyond that, the cars we drive, we depend so much on cars, not the best way of life. We have to adapt the green system in the countryside, in Abuja, in Lagos, in Port Harcourt. We should begin to use metro line with electric trains that go underground so as to reduce the number of cars on the road. It's an efficient means of transport. It will help us. Where we have waterways, we should begin to use boats and cruises to save the amount of carbon emissions from cars. We should use bicycles and trek as much as possible.
The forest cover we are losing at an alarming rate can help to mop up carbon dioxide in the atmosphere responsible for global warming.
So the climate is changing faster than our efforts to address it.
The time to answer humankind's greatest challenge is now.
We have abundant evidence that we're changing our climate.
Climate change is one of the defining threats of our times.
Climate change is a defining issue of our age.
The ocean contains a vast variety of creatures. A few are popular and many are hardly known, but they all play crucial and diverse roles in the balance of the Earth's ecosystem. They are one of the most endangered species in the world today, and if care is not taken, could become library archives like the dinosaurs and many other creatures that once walked on the Earth's surface, swam in its waters, and flew through the air.
Sea turtles spend.
It helps to control the jellyfish population, because if jellyfish is too much in the ocean, it's a problem for the fish. Because jellyfish actually has spikes with which it stings the other fishes in the ocean. When the leatherback turtle feeds on the jellyfish, it's removing this danger from the fish, and thereby the fisheries is healthier.
Apart from poachers who rob them of the eggs they lay, or even sell them off to people who devour them in special cuisines, one of the major threats to the existence of sea turtles is getting caught in fishing gears and drowning, or becoming delicacies of fishermen whose gears they get trapped in.
Exploitation.